Greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking through the patch notes for the finals. Patch notes 2.2.0, which have just released, and this is like the Easter update. So there's a video here. This is like the official patch notes site. There's a video here that goes through a couple of new skins we have, and I think there's also a new game mode, but I'm just going to skip to the actual patch notes. You can go watch this either here or like on the official YouTube channel if you want. It's only 15 seconds long. It's pretty short. So Easter is here, and it's time to color some eggs and play Bunny Bash. During this event, you'll turn in contracts to earn prizes while duking it out in the special version of Power Shift. The Sister Horizon map has been visited by the Easter Bunny, who has left plenty of decorations behind. You'll need to work with a limited loadout during the event, so plan wisely and hop on the platform to smash your way to victory. So this is basically going to be like when the Cowboy event was in the game, you had a limited loadout, and now there's going to be this Easter event. You're also going to have a limited loadout, and it's going to be for like the Power Shift game mode. We were planning on shuffling a few game modes to make room for Bunny Bash, but seeing the outpouring of love for Banquet from the community, we've decided to keep it. Thank you for always being so vocal when it comes to your experience in the game. We may need to rearrange things in the future to make room for new experiences, but for now, keep grabbing those coins. So I think earlier this week they announced in the Discord that Banquet was going to leave, as well as Unranked. But Banquet, I guess, didn't leave because I think a lot of people like it, and they probably were talking about that in the Discord. We will be adding cash out to the actual game modes to replace unranked tournaments for now. You'll be able to warm up for ranked in the single round 3v3v3v3 mode instead. We've also added cash out to private matches in case you want to play with up to 12 friends. Finally, we'll be switching all PC display names to Embark ID soon to make social connections easier and to ensure better quality display names going forward. You'll see a pop-up when you first open the game. You don't need to do anything for this change as you already have an Embark ID, but if you'd like to change your Embark ID display name before the switch, you can do so by visiting the Embarked portal. Don't worry, there is no risk of losing any progress or friends on the social page due to this change, and this does not affect console players at all. Let's get to the nitty-gritty. So, that's all of the basic stuff out of the way. That's all just good to know. And now we get to the balancing. I'm very glad I'm seeing the FCAI there. I haven't gone through these yet. There's a couple of map changes too. I might not go through all of this, but I also might. I'll definitely go through the weapons anyway. I've read through the whole kind of basic stuff anyway. Alright, balancing. KS23, increased fire rate from 55 RPM to 73 RPM. That sounds like it's a pretty big buff, but also it definitely needed it. It shot real slow, and now it's going to shoot a little bit faster. Decreased player damage from 120 to 100. Right. Okay. I don't think that's going to change anything. It's still going to be 2 shots for a light. It's still going to be 3 for a medium. And it's still going to be 4 for a heavy. I don't think that's going to change a whole lot. But I guess it's just going to be harder for your teammates to finish it off, or you're going to do like less damage with like the RPG if you combine it. Yeah, okay. Increase environmental damage from 600 to 700. Okay, so you're going to have an easier time blowing up walls. Decrease pump action animation delay from 0.2 seconds to 0 seconds. Decreased pump action animation delay from 0.2 seconds to 0 seconds. So I guess there was like an animation for it, and it maybe felt inconsistent with the gun, and now that animation has basically just been removed because it's been put down to 0 seconds. That's probably good. That's like a buff. Increased pump action animation duration from 0.6 seconds to 0.7 seconds. Okay, so it's going to take longer to actually pump the gun. Increased damage fall off start range from 15 meters to 18 meters. Okay, so that's a buff. Decreased damage fall off end range from 50 meters to 23 meters. Okay, so that's a hefty nerf. Increase the damage fall off multiplier at max range from 0.4 to 0.6, meaning it does more damage at range. That's interesting. I guess it's because it's harder to hit a shot at a longer range, so it's going to do more damage at a longer range. That's interesting. Increase the projectile speed from 200 meters per second to 300 meters per second, meaning players need to lead targets less now. Yeah, decrease bullet dispersion when firing from the hip while crouching, standing, and running, making the weapon more accurate and reliable. Okay, yeah, dispersion is definitely the biggest thing with this weapon. It doesn't sound to me like it's going to be so much more usable. I mean, 73 RPM is pretty good. My game is currently updating now, but maybe at the end I'll check it out. But 55 to 73 RPM is definitely a pretty hefty buff. And, you know, then it's got kind of some, like, extra nerfs and extra buffs to balance it out. So I'm simply going to have to try this out in-game to see how good it is. I think it's probably not going to be used so much still, but I guess we'll see. FCAR! Adjusted recoil pattern to make the weapon slightly less easy to control. Decrease the damage fall-off multiplier at max range from 0.67 to 0.5, meaning it does less damage at long range. So 2 nerfs there, 2 much-needed nerfs. I'm very, very glad this hasn't got, like, nerfed into the ground like C4 was and, like, some other things were in the game, like the SA-1216. Just changing the recoil pattern, I think, is very, very, very good. I'm happy there's not, like, a does 5 less damage thing here. So I'll probably try this out in-game once my game updates, but for now, that sounds good. FAMAS, adjusted recoil pattern to make this weapon slightly easier to control. Okay, I know it was made harder to control, and now it's been made easier to control again, so that's interesting. I think people still aren't going to use this. If the FCAR is in the game, even though the recoil pattern is going to be harder, like, people are just going to learn that, and then people are going to use the FCAR still, unless it's really, really, really hard. Or they're probably just going to use the AKM even. Like, there's really not much point in using the FAMAS right now. It's just not that good. 93R, increased fire rate from 240 RPM to 260 RPM, so it's going to have a much lower time to kill now. So that definitely might be pretty good. We'll have to find out. That's pretty hefty buff, though. Glitch Trap, reduced the duration of glitch effect from 10 seconds to 5 seconds. Yeah, that's fair enough, and it's the same with the glitch grenade. Yeah, getting glitched lasted a really, really long time. I think 5 seconds might be a little bit short. I think like 7 seconds or so might have been good, but 10 seconds was definitely too long, so nerfing this is definitely a step in the right direction. If you were glitched, you were just out of the fight for 10 seconds. It was really, really, really annoying, and I'm glad to see that this has been there. Changes and bug fixes. These are just bug fixes. I don't think I'm going to go through this, just some UI stuff, some maps, game mode stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to... Yeah, this is all just, bug fixes and stuff. So I'm not actually going to go through that. You can read it if you want. I'm not going to, because I don't really care so much about the bug fixes. So yeah, I guess I'll just wait for my game to update, and then I'll try out the KS23, the FCAR, and maybe I'll try out the 93R as well. Alright, so we're going to start off with the FCAR, and this got a pretty good nerf to the recoil, I would say. So before it was pretty simple to learn. The bullets, like, didn't move for the second half of the mag, and now it is going to look like this. So that's going to be significantly harder to control, which I think is very, very, very good. It's especially going to be hard to hit those middle shots, because there's only, like, 4, and then they bump up quite a lot. So I think this is pretty good. I think a lot of people are going to switch to the AKM. And if you really want to, you can learn the recoil pattern and try and keep it somewhat central. But I do think a lot of people are just going to switch to the AKM because it's going to be a lot more forgiving. But luckily, like, none of the damage numbers were changed or anything. So if you like this weapon, you can still just go and learn that recoil pattern. And this is still going to do a bunch of damage if you can hit all of your shots. It's just going to be a little bit more unforgiving now, which I think is good. Then we're going to go on to the KS23. This is pretty good now. I don't think it's going to be great, but it is going to be pretty good. If I just shoot as fast as I can here, it's going to look like that. And so, like, you shoot pretty fast now, and it is also going to be easier to hit shots, A, because of the dispersion. Before there was, like, a lot of dispersion, and now there's just some dispersion, which is very good. It's going to be easier to hit shots, and also because of the faster projectile speed, so it's going to be easier to hit them because you don't have to lead them as much. So all in all, this is a pretty good buff for this gun. The damage was reduced a little bit, but that's because it's, like, so much easier to hit shots now. So I think this is pretty good for this gun as well. I still don't think anyone's going to use it. I think you'd be sacrificing a lot to use this instead of a hit scan weapon that can also hit at, like, longer ranges a lot easier. Like, that just doesn't really do so much damage. You might as well just use the Lewis gun or something, you know? It's going to be a lot easier to hit shots with that as well. But this is a good buff. I still don't think many people are going to use it, but I think it is a good buff. It's not super overpowered, and it's not, like, super, super weak. If you're someone that likes this weapon, then it's going to be a lot more viable now, basically. Which I think is pretty good. And then we come to the 93R, and kind of the same thing here. This is buffed. It's a good buff. it's a little bit more viable, but I don't think it's really going to hold up as much to the XP54 or the M11. So if I just shoot it as fast as I can, it does kill lights pretty quickly. Just reload that quickly, and now I'm going to try and shoot this heavy as fast as I can. So it takes a while to kill the heavy, and also because it's a semi-auto weapon, you're not going to be able to always be hitting that super high fire rate, whereas with the XP54, the M11, you just hold it down, you always get the highest fire rate you possibly can, and with semi-auto weapons you can't do that. And with the XP54, it's just like very, very easy to eliminate a heavy if all of the shots hit, like if they're stationary or something. And that's always going to be harder with semi-auto weapons. So I do think the XP54 and the M11 are just going to be better. The V9S might even still be better. No, well, maybe if you hit the headshots, maybe. But this is like about as good as the V9S, I think. But I think the XP54 and the M11 are still just both going to be a lot better than the 9.3R, or like significantly better than the 9.3R anyway. But like if you really, really like it, then you can use it. It's not like that much worse. I think the XP54 and M11 are just like easier to use and also a little bit better. So together they're like a lot better for most players. But if you like it, you can probably get away with using it, and same's gonna go for the KS23. If you like the FCAR, you can just relearn the new recoil pattern, or you can just switch to the AKM. FAMAS, I'm not gonna go through anything else because they weren't really changed enough. So yeah, I guess I might as well show the FAMAS new recoil because yeah, I might as well. Yeah, so it's just a little bit more zigzaggy. Originally, it just went straight up a tiny bit. Now it's a little bit more zigzaggy. I really don't see the point in using this weapon. You should just be using the AKM or the FCAR at this point. Like, the recoil pattern is not easy to learn, and it also just doesn't do so much in those closer range fights, and also it's a burst weapon, so yeah, I think I've talked enough now. So I'm actually going to go back to the main menu, and at this point I might as well showcase all of the new things as well. So I'll go to the contracts here. These are all the skins for the Easter event. You've got a sniper skin, you have a Model 1887 skin, SA1216 skin, Easter Bunny sticker, Easter Bunny basket, Easter basket bunny, whatever it's called, weapon charm. Then we have this, which is like a skin tone tattoo. It's not a skin tone, it's a skin type tattoo thing. And then we have some VRS tokens as well. Then also, if you do all of those, then you get this Easter Bunny skin, just on like leggings, the shoes, the bracelet, the top, and the ears as well, which would go on the head. And then we also have this new game mode, which is just Power Shift on Scissor Horizon with the Easter Bunny kind of map as well. And then in the store, you have this Goo Grenade thing, which is free. You can just get this. It doesn't cost anything, and you can just buy that in the store. Just skin for the Goo Grenade. You've got this, which I think is new, but it might not be. It's an Easter egg. It's an Easter sledgehammer skin for the heavy and an eye candy weapon charm. And then we also have these, like some stick weapons, which are pretty cool. Revolver skin, sledgehammer skin, and the sword skin. And then we don't have anything else, I don't think. I think that about covers everything. So yeah, there you go. Thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. That is going to be it for this video. If you liked it, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Farewell.